It was a crisp Sunday morning in my sprawling estate in Atherton, California, the kind of place where tech titans hide their fortunes behind manicured hedges and invisible security grids. I'd built this fortress from the ground up. Every polished stone a testament to the scars I'd turned into steel. At 38, I was Emily Hayes, founder of NeuralNet Finance, a fintech powerhouse revolutionizing personal banking with AI-driven fraud detection. My net worth hovered just under $2 billion. But that number meant nothing compared to the silence I'd earned, the kind that drowns out old ghosts. Or so I thought. The security alert pierced the quiet like a knife, unexpected visitors at the gate. I pulled up the feed on my wall screen. And there they were, like relics from a nightmare I'd long buried. Thomas, my adoptive father, stood rigid, his once imposing frame now bent with age and defeat. Susan clung to his side, her face etched with lines that screamed regret, or was it calculation? Michael, my brother, paced behind them, his former swagger reduced to anxious fidgeting. And Olivia, the sister who'd always shone brightest, held back with 2 kids in tow, her eyes darting like she knew this was a gamble. They weren't here for reconciliation. After 15 years of radio silence, of me being airbrushed out of their lives, they showed up unannounced, palms out. I watched them squirm on the camera. The same faces that had once looked right through me, now pleading into the void. Some wounds don't heal, they harden. And mine? They'd become the foundation of everything I was about to deny them. The roots of this betrayal dug deep into my childhood in a cookie-cutter suburb of Seattle, Washington, not the glamorous tech hub, but the rainy, middle-class grind where appearances were everything. Thomas was a mid-level accountant at a local firm, crunching numbers with the precision of a machine but sparing no warmth for the kid who didn't fit his blueprint. Susan worked as a nurse at the community hospital. Her compassion doled out to strangers while I got the leftovers, cold nods and half-hearted sighs. Then there were Michael and Olivia, him, the football hero with a shelf full of trophies, her, the debate club star whose every word was gold. Me? I was the glitch in their perfect system. The unplanned addition they tolerated but never embraced. I pushed myself relentlessly, acing tests to match Michael's grades, joining chess club hoping for a sliver of the praise Olivia got for her speeches. But it was always, good enough isn't great, Emily, or why can't you be more like your siblings? Their favoritism wasn't subtle, it was the air I breathed. Michael's state championship got a backyard barbecue with the whole neighborhood. My spelling bee win? A pat on the back and don't let it go to your head. Olivia's school play filled the house with applause. My science fair project sat forgotten in the garage. It built up, layer by layer, this quiet erosion of my worth, until I started believing I was the problem, the invisible girl who didn't deserve the spotlight. The breaking point came on my 12th birthday, a day I'd hyped up in my head as a turning point. I'd saved my allowance for party supplies, dreaming of cake and friends. But that morning, Michael had a big game, and Susan announced we'd reschedule my celebration. Family first, she said, loading the car with signs cheering his name. They rolled out, leaving me with a frozen pizza and the echo of an empty house. I sat at the kitchen table, lighting a matchstick as a makeshift candle, whispering a wish for belonging. That wish found its way to Grandma Clara, my only anchor in that storm. She wasn't blood-related either, Susan's mother, but she claimed me like I was her greatest treasure. While the others orbited Michael and Olivia, Grandma Clara pulled me into her world, teaching me coding basics on her old desktop when everyone said it was too complicated for a girl like you, slipping me books on entrepreneurs when the family assumed I'd peak at mediocrity. You're a force, Emily, she'd murmured during our stolen afternoons in her cozy attic, away from the noise. They don't see it yet, but you'll eclipse them all. Her notes, tucked into envelopes with 20s for the future mogul, became my lifeline. I hid them under my bed, rereading them on nights when the laughter downstairs felt like a wall I couldn't breach. She was the only one who made me feel seen, not just tolerated. But even Grandma Clara couldn't shield me from the bomb that would detonate my world. Against the odds, I snagged a full ride to MIT for computer science. My ticket out. I burst into dinner that night, letter in hand, expecting fireworks. Instead, it was buried under talks of Michael's promotion and Olivia's engagement. "That's fine, dear," Susan said, barely glancing up. "But have you thought about loans just in case?" I left for Boston with a backpack and Grandma's farewell hug at the airport, the only one who showed. "Build your own path, sweetheart," she whispered, pressing an old pendant into my palm. "Don't let their shadows dim you." 3 years in. The call shattered me, Grandma Clara gone from a sudden stroke. I flew back, heart in pieces, only to be relegated to the back pew at the funeral, close family up front. The will reading at their house was a circus of relatives, all eyes on the prizes. The lawyer droned through assets, house to Thomas and Susan, savings split among grandkids. Then, to Emily, my locket and $15,000 for chasing stars only she can reach. The room ignited. "That's triple what we got," Michael barked. "And the locket? That's a family heirloom." Susan's voice cracked with fury. "It belongs with real blood. Real blood." The words hung like smoke. I demanded answers. And the truth spilled. I wasn't theirs. My birth mom, Susan's best friend from nursing school, died in a hit and run when I was weeks old. They took me in out of duty, not love. "We gave you a life," Thomas said flatly. "Food, roof, school." Like I was a line item on their ledger, not a daughter. The room spun, every slight, every oversight suddenly made horrifying sense. They'd known. Everyone had. And they'd let me twist in the wind, wondering why I was never enough. I stood, locket clenched, the check burning in my hand. "You raised me like a stray you regretted feeding. And you," I turned to Michael and Olivia, "knew I wasn't real family. Treated me like it every day." Susan's eyes dodged mine. "We thought it was kinder not to tell." "Kinder?" I laughed, bitter and broken. "Kinder to make me hate myself?" I stormed out, slamming the door on 2 decades of lies. Within days, I was ghosted, photos edited, numbers blocked, my existence scrubbed clean. Alone didn't begin to cover it, the isolation was a void. But it sparked something fierce. Freedom from their judgment lit a fire I didn't know I had. New York City swallowed me whole. A whirlwind of ambition and grit. With Grandma's $15,000. I crashed in a cramped Brooklyn walk-up with rotating roommates, sirens wailing through thin walls. My degree landed me at FinTech Innovations, a startup tweaking banking apps. Paycheck to paycheck. But it was my start. I became the ghost employee, first in, last out, volunteering for graveyard shifts while others chased happy hours. Free online courses from Coursera and Khan Academy filled my nights. AI, machine learning, blockchain, anything to outrun the echo of not enough. Hackathons became my battleground. 48-hour marathons of code and caffeine where I met Alex, a sharp data analyst who saw through my armor. "You're coding like the world's ending," he joked over stale donuts at dawn. "What's chasing you?" "Everything," I thought. The rejection fueled me. Every algorithm I perfected was armor against their dismissal. The pivot hit at a FinTech summit in Chicago, where I'd scraped together airfare by skipping meals. My question on predictive fraud patterns during a panel turned heads. Dr. Laura Simmons from NYU cornered me after. "That insight's gold. Join my research team." She didn't just mentor code, she sculpted my mindset, connecting me to VCs and innovators. At one of her mixers, I pitched Victor Lang, a venture capitalist who'd cashed in on early crypto. Over coffee, I laid out NeuralNet, AI that learned user habits to flag fraud in real time. No passwords needed. Seed funding, he asked. I scribbled $200,000 on a napkin. He countered with $250,000 for 15% equity. And get a real bed. Empires aren't built on air mattresses. NeuralNet launched in a Queens loft with a skeleton crew I'd lured with stock promises. We grinded through failures, a botched demo, a near bankruptcy, but our first bank client hailed us when we caught $1 million scam pre-launch. Contracts snowballed, credit unions, then Wall Street firms, then federal agencies. I poured every cent back in, riding subways while peers flaunted Porsches. Late nights, I'd twist Grandma's locket, whispering, "This is for us." Their betrayal had forged my resilience. I turned pain into precision. 5 years post-seed, NeuralNet hit 250 employees. Valuation at $400 million. By year 7, we dominated AI fraud detection. At 32, our IPO rocketed us to $2.5 billion. My share made me a billionaire. The girl they'd discarded now graced Forbes covers as the fraud hunter. But success amplified the emptiness, no one to toast with. Just endless boardrooms. I expanded globally, offices in London, Singapore, Dubai. Valuation climbed to $4 billion. Staff to 1,500. Burnout crept in, sleepless nights. Skipped meals, but Alex, now my COO, pushed back. "You're proving a point to ghosts. Emily, who wins if you break?" I couldn't stop. Their shadows drove me harder. My Atherton mansion was my one splurge, $20 million of solitude with ocean views. A gym I barely used. Rooms echoing empty. Staff handled the upkeep. Relationships? Too risky after dates turned into fortune hunts. Instead, I founded the Clara Vision Fund, scholarships for foster kids in tech, boot camps in inner cities, mentors for the overlooked. At our inaugural event, a 16-year-old named Jordan demoed an app he'd built post-camp, eyes hungry like mine once were. "Internship's yours," I said. These kids filled the void. Not with closeness, I'd forgotten how, but with purpose. The media dubbed me an enigma, Emily Hayes. The self-made phantom. My past? Buried deep, their erasure matched mine. Routine ruled, 4 a.m. runs. Dawn meetings. Midnight strategies. Victor once quipped over steak, "You've got the empire. Now what about the legacy?" "For the invisible ones," I replied. Trust was a myth. I'd learned that the hard way. My 38th birthday loomed. Another solo milestone amid acquisitions and galas. Then the gate alert shattered it. Watching them on the feed. Rage simmered. 15 years. And now this? My assistant texted, "Call cops." I hesitated. Then buzzed the intercom. 5 minutes. Adults only. Their relief flickered on camera as the gate swung open. I waited in the grand hall. Art worth millions flanking me like sentinels. When the housekeeper led them in, their awe was palpable. This wasn't the reject. This was power incarnate. "Time's ticking," I said. Arms crossed. Thomas cleared his throat. We were wrong. For minutes. Michael bristled. "We're family." "Emily." "No," I snapped. "You clarified that. I was the pity project you ditched." Susan teared up. "Please. We need help." There it was, the ask. I led them to the lounge. Projecting slides on the massive screen, their social media. Bankruptcies. Public records. Firm tanked from outdated practices, I recited. Michael. Fired for stagnation. Olivia. Messy divorce. No assets. How? Susan gasped. I track threats. And you? Always were one. More slides, emails labeling me ungrateful, edited photos. Group chats plotting my debt to them. You celebrated erasing me, I said. Voice ice. Now you want a bailout? 3 million. Jobs. Stock, your PI spilled it all. They deflated. The kids. Olivia pleaded. Innocent. Trusts for them, I countered. College paid. Managed by my fund. Not a dime to you. Thomas erupted. We raised you. I flashed their old ledger, itemized costs of my childhood. Like a bill. You tracked me as an expense. Screenshots followed, Olivia's post gloating over my uninvite. Michael's jokes at my expense. Susan's regrets framed as my fault. You built a case against me before knowing my worth. I closed it all. Leave. Face your messes like I faced yours. As they filed out, I offered Michael a bootcamp spot. Apply. Earn it. He wouldn't. Pride sealed their fate. Watching their car vanish. Peace settled. I'd broken no laws. Just cycles. The kids got futures. They got justice. In Grandma's recreated garden that night. Locket in hand. I signed the trusts. Work beckoned hearings. Expansions, but for once. The hollow felt less vast. Their betrayal had birthed my empire, my vengeance, thriving without them. Doors open for others they'd have slammed. It wasn't pretty, but it was mine. And in America's unforgiving climb, that was the real win.